And so related to like the actual development of SimCity. I mean, and you mentioned like there were like Mac engineers kind of involved and things like that. Were the other people early on in the development of SimCity also reading really widely and kind of trying to take ideas from all these different domains, or was it very much like Will Wright was like it was his vision, kind of like his vision was kind of combining all these things together in his head, and then everyone else around him was sort of executing. Because I know you sound like later by the time you were doing sports, there was kind of this, I don't know, like at least it was more distributed where there were lots of people
Yeah.
kind of thinking about these kinds of things. But early on, was it really just him or were there other people doing these kinds of things as well?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think that for the sort of core vision of if you look at the SimCity code, the original SimCity code, like it's clearly like Will owns the simulation code. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like
Okay.
the kind of the sort of like the core kind of like that model is like his model. And he's the one who's, I think, pulling from all these different influences. However, I don't think you would have SimCity. I don't think you would have a successful SimCity without the other people that worked on it. So, for instance, Jeff Braun, Will's business partner, who co-founded Maxis, he's very modest. When you talk to him, he says, he's like, I don't have any idea. And there's no idea of mine that's in SimCity. And I think he's appropriately humble. However, I think that I think Jeff is a business guy who wants to sell a product to a mass market. And it's not, and I think that Will's inclination is probably more, I'm going to make this really cool. I have this genius idea and I'm going to follow my inclinations regardless of whether or not other people want it and make this cool thing for me. Though he is very savvy about thinking about other people and what they want. Like, I think like Will had shelved SimCity. It wasn't called SimCity yet because Broderbund, the publisher of Rain on Bungling Bay, didn't want it. They were like, this is too weird.
Yeah.
And so I think Jeff was critical to sort of see that and say there's something here, to look at the Commodore 64 prototype, now the prototype, right? And to say there's something here, we can make this into a mass market product. And Jeff is the one who then built that bigger team around Will and was like, no, I believe in this. I'm going to spend my money on this. I'm going to bring it to market. I'm going to help this reach a wider audience. And then they brought on I think there was a Rob Stroh. There was these Mac developers they brought on to help build out that part. And having worked with Will, he's very smart about interaction design, but that kind of the sort of interface design is not his. That's not his. It's always other people that kind of come in and sort of complement him and do that. So I think that he had the kind of overarching idea, and then because that kind of more refined version that hits the Macintosh is definitely the result of a collaboration with other people. But the core
Okay.
sort of synthesis is his.
Okay.
Yeah.